talking about take number 3. Successful actions on starting a club. How to start a club. First of all, you have to get the concept about starting a club. What are you doing? You're going in and you've got people who are deathly afraid of public speaking. Somehow they know they've got to confront this problem. They're a little nervous. They show up, there's a room full, and they're always sitting near the back. They're scared to death, all right? Now, we're going to try to help people overcome their fear of public speaking. But we don't do it by throwing them in the deep end and saying, well, can you swim? And then somehow say that, no. This is a foolproof way of doing it. You take the things that you would do to make a good speaker and you incorporate those into a kickoff meeting, all right? So here's what I do. When I first come in, I hand everyone a 3x5 card. And I say, would you please write down something about yourself that is very interesting, something different, something you're proud of, something special you've done in your life that no one in the room knows about. Just a couple of sentences, and then put your name on it, we'll collect those up. And I collect them up before the meeting and people forget about it, okay? Then I used to break it down into a half hour of a kickoff meeting and 15 minutes beforehand explaining a little bit what Toastmasters is all about. And then the last 15 minutes, answer questions and do the close, all right? So once I've got kind of the presentation of what Toastmasters is all about, I'm going to do a little kickoff meeting. Now, here's what I do. There's always been a question, do you do a kind of a beginner speaker in there so they feel comfortable, or do you get someone who's really good? And I've done it both ways, and I think you should get someone who's fantastic and knocks their socks off. Because we're touting ourselves as the organization that creates great speakers. And people want to see someone they can look up to and go, I want to be like that. So if you can entertain them, give them a speech and feel comfortable, do that. Now, you probably have someone in your district who can do those kind of things. When I do it, I have a speech that I do myself, which I love to do, and it has to do with them. And it talks about my first speech when I got up, and so everyone in the audience feels really nervous for me, and it really brings me to life. But once I've done that speech, and actually before I do the speech, I tell people in Toastmasters we do evaluations. And I'm going to have you help me evaluate this speech. I'm going to toss them right in, and I'm going to give them some hints. So I want you, when you're listening, write down what you liked about the speech. How did it open? How did it grab your attention? Is there anything you didn't like about it? And I give a list of things that I want them to look for. And I'm going to ask for their feedback afterwards. Now, the great thing about this is it actually gets them listening to the speech, and that they are going to have to evaluate it. And they realize there's more to a speech than just listening to it. And they're starting to evaluate right off the bat. So now they are thinking like a Toastmaster. And then I would get up and do the evaluation and say, what did you think of the speech? And I, okay, how did they open? What did you think of this and that? And I would get people get feedback, and they start to realize there's something to the speaking. And they're also getting up and speaking themselves. Right? Then I have the most fun. So when I've done a speech and an evaluation, and they've been involved in it, then I say, okay, we're going to play a little game. We talk a little bit about table topics. I say, here's the game we're going to play. I'm going to read one of the cards that you guys gave me, and then we're going to try to guess who it is. So I'm going to read the card. I'm going to get 1, 2, 3, everyone point to who it is. So I read something, I jumped out of a plane and my parachute didn't open. Okay, the count of 3, who is it? 1, 2, 3. Okay, come on, everyone points, so they start pointing. They're trying to guess who one of their comrades did this. And then when they're finally everyone points, they say, okay, well, the real so-and-so, please stand up. And they stand up, and usually everyone cheers and they laugh and they get fooled, all right? Now this guy's standing here. Here are the two things if you're going to be a speaker. You want to know your subject, right? And feel comfortable with the audience. Now, I've already set this guy up. This is something he's been telling his friends all his life. He's told the story 100 times, and he's proud of it. He's happy, and he's now wowed all of his friends. And all I simply say is, well, tell us about that. And the guy goes, yeah, and he starts talking like this, and people are cheering him, and he sits down, okay? Next. And I don't tell him the timing, I don't get the odds and ends. I just want him to have a win on getting up and speaking. That's all I want him to do. And an amazing thing happens. We do 10 or 15 or 20 people. Most of the time is them getting up. And one for one, if they get up and speak, they want to join Toastmasters. They have a win. They take the scariest thing on the planet, and they have now created such a fun experience for their members. And amazing. I hear incredible stories about people who volunteer and help these poor homeless kids and so forth, and they look, wow, I've been working with this guy for 15 years, and I didn't know this about you. And you develop a rapport and camaraderie amongst the group. And once I'm finished that, people are like, wow, they're thrilled, they've had a big win at public speaking, they're in amongst all their friends. And then I just say, well, we're starting a club here today. I'm not saying we would like to. I say, it's starting, we'd love to have you all be members. And this is your team. And of course, there are no instructors, there's no tests. You have your own officers, and I make it really comfortable. And then I go for the close. This is the most fun I ever have. Now, you know, everyone wants to be part of something special. So I tell them about, first of all, we've explained the finances, whether the corporate's going to pay for it, but it's very inexpensive. So that's not really the problem. And I say, now, when we start a club, the first members are, of course, the charter members. They're very special. And I talk about the plaque that's been up for 50 years and the big corporations with their names on it, and I just make a huge deal about charter members. This is a big deal. In fact, I know there's a club that's 50 years old and they still have a charter member there that's been there for the 50 years. So I make it a big deal. It says, unfortunately, only the first 20 people that sign up today can be charter members. And you don't actually have to have a check today, but if you actually fill out that, you should put your name on it. If you hand those in to me today, the first 20 can be charter members. Now, I did this at HSBC. We did a kickoff meeting. And I was telling Carol earlier that we got a call and they said, well, you wanted 20 members, but we have 35 coming. Is that okay? Oh, yeah, okay. Then I got a call later in the week. Well, it's up to 50. Okay. I showed up, there's 120 people in the room. No. 120 people in the room. I did just what I was telling you, dog and pony show. We had so much fun. When we finished, 100 people signed up for Toastmasters. Wow. Yeah. We started 3 clubs. We started one for Mondays at noon, Wednesdays and Thursdays. 3 new names. We got all the paperwork done in 24, 48 hours, sent it off to TI. And Kristen mentioned she saw the paperwork come through. Okay? But the close was, you could be a charter member. Now, inevitably, all go, well, wait a minute, there's more than 20 of us that want to be charter members. I always do this, I love this. I go and I look over my shoulder like someone's watching, I go, and I lean in and I kind of whisper, I said, well, this time only, anyone who turns in their charter paperwork today, don't tell anyone, I'll make sure they're charter members. But if you leave and you don't turn the paperwork in, you don't have to have a check today, you have it next week. As long as the paperwork's here, you can be charter members. Done. It's unbelievable. You create want. You create something special. You give them a big win. They're amongst their friends. They feel comfortable. It's pearls for pennies. It's peanuts. It's a cup of coffee a week. That's not the problem. If that's a problem, we could solve that. But usually it's creating the want. And if you can do that, you close them, and you'll have so much fun. You see them giggling and excited. They're thrilled that they can overcome this fear, this problem they've always had. There is hope. When you've got that hope, you've got it all. Got it? So those are the successful actions we've had in starting clubs. And you'll find, if you've not done one, do it. Get in there and do it. And all those people that are going to help you start clubs, get them in there experiencing it. Because once they've done it, once or twice,